Hello, my name is Roisin and welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be another vlog and this time I'm going to read some of the sad girl summer books that I have been seeing everywhere. These aren't all, I don't think, summary books, but they are all sad girl books, and they are books that are very popular on Bookstagram, booktok, booktube, books that I've heard about everywhere and I haven't read. This year I've kind of got into dark, weird books about women and girls. It's kind of been the only books that I've been loving at the moment. Not all of them, but the majority of the books that I've liked so far this year have been in that genre. So I thought I might as well try some of the famous popular ones. So I don't know how weird all of these are, but I think there's a little bit of weirdness, a little bit of beautiful, and a lot of depression. So that's what we're aiming for this week. But the reading in this vlog is going to be slightly different from how I normally do a reading vlog. Normally I pick 3 to 5 books and I just read all of them and you see me go through them, but in this video I've decided I'm going to be more okay with DNFing books, and so I have given myself a big pile of books to read, and I also have audiobooks and ebooks, so I have a wide range of things to choose from. So I've given myself a theme, but I'm kind of mood reading off of that theme and giving myself the opportunity to put some stuff down if I feel I need to. So I'll run through very quickly all of the ones that I've got. So the ones I've got Burnt Sugar by Avni Doshi, which was on the Book Prize shortlist in 2020. I have All's Well by Mona Awad, which is about chronic illness. I have Assembly by Natasha Brown. This one's very short, so hopefully that will be doable. I have Bonjour Tristesse by François Sagan, which is a classic, and again a very little one, so hopefully I'll be able to fit some of these in. I've got the original, My Year of Rest and Relaxation, the one that absolutely everyone has read. Everyone's a Anatessa Moshfegh stan. I've not read any of hers, so I'm going to give this one a go. And of course, On Earth We Are Briefly Gorgeous by Ocean Vuong is another one that is apparently incredibly beautifully written and that all the sad girls love. I have 3 other books reserved, no, 4. I have 4 other books reserved at my library that haven't come in yet, and those are The Idiot by Elif Batuman, which I've been seeing a lot of people reviewing lately on Bookstagram, and I am even more excited to read. Crying in H Mart by Michelle Zauner, which everyone was reading last summer. Bunny by Mona Awad, in case I want a different Mona Awad, and Tell Me I'm Worthless, which by Alison Rumfit. The Last House on Needless Street by Katrina Ward, Earthlings by Sayaka Murata, and Severance by Ling Ma. I think out of those, Severance by Ling Ma is the one that I am most excited for. I've got those ones on my BorrowBox app from my library, and then also on Scribd, The Waves by Virginia Woolf for another sad girl classic, and Everyone in This Room Will Someday Be Dead by Emily Austen. So I'm not sure how many books I had there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 books, I think that's an appropriate number, for this sad girl summer. So I'm going to get to reading them. But first, I'm actually going to do some reading for a video that I am filming about the new Persuasion adaptation. Everyone has been bashing it this weekend. I have not watched it yet. I'm going to, obviously, before I make this video. So that's what I'm going to be doing this afternoon, reading around that and filming this video. Today it is Sunday. It is 32 degrees here, and it is about to be the big scary heat wave. We have a red alert for weather in the UK. So 32 degrees is kind of normal for us in summer, like not consistently, but this is like a peak temperature. It gets to 32 degrees several days over a summer usually, but tomorrow it is going to be 40 degrees, which is 104 Fahrenheit if you're American, and it has never been that hot here ever. And as you probably are aware, in the UK we don't have air conditioning, and we have houses that are built around the idea that you have a fireplace in every room to keep them warm, and you have to trap all the heat from the fire in them. So they are very much heat containing houses, not cooling houses. So I've done a load of cooking to make sure that we don't have to turn on the oven or the stove for the next 3 days. I have filled the freezer with ice creams, and I am kind of dreading it. I got my laptop last week so I can work from home, because I cycle to work, and I don't think it's sensible to cycle for an hour in 40 degree heat. Hello, so it is Monday now, big heatwave day, and I've just gone outside to warm up because I have done such a good job of making it cold in my house that I was actually feeling a bit cold. I mean, I'm wearing like this floaty top and like bicycle shorts, so I am fairly like dressed for the heat, but like I had all the windows open overnight and then closed them about 7:30 this morning. I put all the curtains up, and I've had a cold shower and washed my hair, so my hair is cold and wet, so that's probably why I'm feeling fairly chilly. So I had to go and step outside. It is really hot outside, really hot, but it is nice and cool in here. This is also my office, which is the only north facing room in the house, so it has the least heat anyway. But yeah, I'm working from home, but I'm just about to get some lunch. It's like 12:30, so I'm just about to have some lunch. But I've also started reading Bunny this morning, by Mona Awad. This is about 4 girls who call each other Bunny on this university campus. The university is called Warren because, of course, where do bunnies live? Sorry, it feels a bit precious at the moment, which is, I'm kind of disappointed by, because I was really excited for this because of everyone's describing it as being like so weird and completely out of control, and like I'm sure it's gonna get there with the plot, but the writing isn't really speaking to me right now. Like, it's just quite simple. It's reminding me most of like romance books that I've read in the past, or I guess thrillers as well, just that kind of everything being described in a way that doesn't feel organic, and it feels like this is happening now, and now we're doing this, and here is this person, and here is exactly what they look like and what I think of them, and then the next person and them as well in a list. And I'm just like, could we have done it a bit more like interestingly than that? The writing itself doesn't feel particularly interesting to me, but I am only about 50 pages in. We do have a ways to go yet, so maybe the wildness of the plot will outweigh the pedestrianness of the writing. Who knows? But yeah, I'm about to have some lunch now, and I will get back to you when I've read some more. I'm gonna try, I think I'm gonna go for Burnt Sugar as my next one that I read as well, because I feel like this one's gonna be the complete opposite, like of Bunny, like no plot and beautiful writing. Hopefully, fingers crossed. I'm quite into the like detached, cold writing at the moment, so if that's what this is, then hopefully I will enjoy it. And it's not too long. Yeah, 200 some pages. So I actually saw on one of my favourite, well, they're a book blogger but also bookstagrammer, if I can find it. Yeah, Moles by Moonlight. That's their blog, and their Instagram handle is Moles by Moonlight, and they posted Grot Girl Summer, which I think is kind of what we're going for here as well, something unpleasant, dirty, gross or filthy, as opposed to Hot Girl Summer. And it's Messy Girl Lit who came up with the idea, who I don't follow, but I am now going to follow, because yeah, I'm all for this disgusting weirdness, darkness. That's what I'm being drawn to at the moment. So I've got loads of recommendations from both Moles by Moonlight and, okay, so the people I've been getting my recommendations from for this kind of creepy weird girl shit is Moles by Moonlight, who I already mentioned, Rachel Lou Reads, Lemonhead Books, and this is the person I couldn't find because this is an impossible username to find. It's like have Rich Cooks, but Emma Woodhead is the name, but I am so confused by that. But they do have a Weird Woman book club as well, where we read books about chaotic spiraling women, which is Moles by Moonlight and Emma Woodhead's book club. So yeah, love it. And I will leave them all linked in the description, because if you want weird book recommendations, weird dark book recommendations, then they're the people for it. I'm only just getting into it. Hello. So it has been a long time since I last spoke to you. I'm getting my hair cut next week, and I'm in desperate need because I cannot see a damn thing. Anyway, it is ages since I last spoke to you. I spoke to you on Tuesday, I think, was the last time I filmed anything, and it is now Saturday. There are 2 reasons for this. The first one is the persuasion video that I have put up, which I will leave in the cards above if you would like to go and see me talk about the new persuasion adaptation. And I forgot that I really shouldn't film reading vlogs at the same time as doing video essays, because the video essays take up all of my time. Like, you don't want to see me just spend an entire evening on JSTOR reading and writing up an essay. It's not particularly interesting, and it means that I'm reading articles rather than reading books. And then reason number two is that it's been really hot and humid this week, which for me means I have been getting horrible migraines. They keep coming and going. I went home early from work on Thursday and I was off work yesterday because I was just too sick to like do anything. I had to be driven home by my colleague on Thursday because I'd cycled in and I was not getting on my bike to go back because I could, you know, I was like slurring and unstable because of the severity of my migraine. So it was not fun, and again makes reading difficult, makes talking to you guys difficult. So it's been a bit of a bust in terms of reading vlogging so far. I have been reading though, a bit. I've started Burnt Sugar by Ebony Doshi. I'm only like 20% of the way through according to Storygraph, and I'm really liking it. I've only just begun. This is about this is set in Pune in India and is about a mother and daughter, and the mother has Alzheimer's, suspected Alzheimer's, and she's forgetting things, and her daughter is kind of looking after her alongside her husband, who is American born Indian, and they are looking after her, but it also flashes back to the past, and how they have this really fractious relationship, this mother and daughter, because there's some things in the past it sounds like was kind of like emotionally abusive, and then also the mother had a kind of wild past as well, and they were homeless for a bit and lived in an ashram for a bit, so there's a lot of like bubbling under the surface. But I'm really enjoying the writing of this so far. I think it's really wonderful, fluid, readable, and I'm intrigued to see where it goes. So I'm glad about that, because this is a book that I have heard mixed things about. Some people have really loved it, like I think Kieran from Katie Books loves this, and some people, I think Jen Campbell, really didn't like this. So I feel like it's hit and miss, but so far it's hitting for me. I'm also halfway through Crying in H Mart by Michelle Zauer, is that her name? Hang on. Michelle Zauner, yeah, that was close. And this is a memoir of her losing her mother to cancer, and kind of what it was like, their relationship growing up, which again was fractious mother-daughter relationships, is one of the themes of the vlog. And yeah, I'm listening to the audiobook of it, and it talks about like being Korean, American-born Korean, and growing up feeling disconnected from her culture and what it was like to go and visit Korea and things. This one I'm enjoying it. I think that it's the relationship is interesting and I'm feeling intrigued by it. I'm also loving the descriptions of like H Mart, which is a Korean supermarket in America, and also of Seoul. If you've been watching my channel since the start of this year, you'll know that I've become kind of obsessed with Korean dramas. I have watched a lot of Korean dramas since January, so I have become more aware of Korean culture than I was before. I wouldn't claim to know that much, but definitely more than I did last year. So I am enjoying that aspect of it, but I do feel like the writing's fairly standard, and I'm really not sure about memoir. I don't know whether it really is for me. I don't think I've ever read a memoir that I've super loved, so I don't know, maybe I'm just not a memoir girl, because I know they're very popular, but I always find them just a bit lacking. I'm not sure why. Anyway, and then the other thing I talked to you about before is Bunny. I'm now halfway through it and still not loving the writing. Don't think it's particularly strong. I think I don't know how to describe the writing, because this writing is quite simple. There's nothing like lyrical or overly descriptive about it, but I love it. And then the writing of Bunny is at the same time, I guess it is more descriptive, but in a very plain, stripped way. There's something interesting about the language, and it feels very like rote, and the shocking things feel like Riverdale shocking rather than like the way that I prefer things to be in this kind of book. So I'm not really loving it. It's also kind of predictable, which people were like, it's mad, it goes in so many different directions. I'm only halfway through, so potentially the rest of it could go completely off the wall, but so far I've kind of known what was coming. Not like the exact details, but I knew what they were doing. And it reminded me of a Sabrina the Teenage Witch episode. There's a specific Sabrina the Teenage Witch episode, which if you've read Bunny, maybe you'll know which one I'm talking about. It's spoilers. The one where they bake men, where they bake her a date for a dance. That's the one it reminds me of. Obviously a bit darker than that, but not super dark. So anyway, today is Saturday, like I said, and I am out all day tomorrow, so I'll take you along with me, going into London to have lunch with my mum, going to an exhibition called Weird Sensation Feels Good, which is an ASMR exhibition at the Design Museum in Kensington. So we'll go there with my friend Rachel, and then going out to dinner at a Syrian restaurant in London. So I'll take you along with me on those adventures, but that means Sunday is usually our chores and errands day, so today's going to be chores and errands instead. So I'm going to clean the kitchen, tidy the bedroom, put a wash on, go to the library, go to the supermarket, and possibly bake some cupcakes as well. So we've got a lot planned, and hopefully this weekend will be more interesting than the whole week where I was either at work or lying down. Hello, back from chores now. I've been for a while, had a nap, which is why I look a little worse for wear, and bald apparently. Yeah, I went to the Turkish supermarket, which I've just now realising I should probably have taken you with me to show you the Turkish supermarket. It's just opened up in our town, and I really liked it there. Really got some big like pide Turkish bread and giant tubs of hummus and various other things. So if you'd be interested in a Turkish supermarket haul next time I go, let me know in the comments. And I picked up my books from the library. So I have a physical copy of Bunny, which I have been reading as an ebook up until now, so I'm glad to switch over to the physical version because I don't love ebooks. I have a physical copy of Crying in H Mart, which I probably won't read. I will continue listening to the audiobook version of, but at least I'll have something to hold up now when I talk about it, which will make editing easier. Plus I'll put it in the thumbnail probably. And then the other ones that I've got Tell Me I'm Worthless by Alison Rumfitt, which is classified as horror, which I didn't realise. A dark, unflinching, haunted house novel that takes the readers from the well of the literary Gothic up through Brighton's queer scene and out into the heart of the modern day trans experience. Sounds very exciting. One of the ones I'm most excited to read, so hopefully I will read that one. And then The Idiot by Elif Batuman, which is another one that I was really excited to read, and I think I have it in ebook or something, but this is a lot longer than I realised when I put it on my list when I requested it. So we'll see how many books I can read. I think I can finish the 3 that I've started before the end of the day, and we'll talk to you about them. But for now I'm gonna like clean my kitchen. I'm not feeling the best, which is why I've had a nap and why I look a bit ghostly, but we're gonna do our best. I'm kind of hot and nauseous, so we'll see how that works out for me. Yeah, and I'll talk to you about books, and I won't show you me cleaning the kitchen because who cares, but I might make some cupcakes either now or tomorrow morning, so I will show you that at some point. Hello, I apologise for the washing machine that you can hear in the background, but I am rushing to leave the house right now. I spent this morning cooking, making like not snacks, but things, salads and quiche and various things to put in the fridge, because I did it last week because it was going to be too hot to cook, and it just makes life easier if there's loads of stuff already cooked in the fridge for during the week. So that's what I did. But I am now going to go out, have lunch with my mum, then go to this museum, go to this exhibition at the Design Museum, which is called Weird Sensation Feels Good, and then I'm going to have dinner with my friend Rachel. So I'm going to have a busy day in London today, and I will take you along with me, of course. I have finished Crying in H Mart and I enjoyed it, but I didn't love it. I don't know if, like I said earlier, perhaps memoir isn't for me, because apart from Heavy by Kay Lehman, I don't think I've ever enjoyed a memoir, and this one was fine. I enjoyed the discussion of food. I really enjoyed that part of it and how that related to culture and to family and to the connection she had with her mother. And I did find it quite heartrending when she was talking about her mother's like losing herself through her illness. I thought that was all quite well done, but overall, like, it wasn't really, Casey Lehman's writing was so stunning and brilliant, and I don't think that Crying in H Mart was really trying to do anything special with the writing. And then on top of that, it didn't have the vulnerability, it didn't go political. I think that those are the things that I want. Like, it was vulnerable, but not to the extent of Casey Lehman. Anyway, I enjoyed it, but I didn't love it. I have also started my first Tessa Moshfegh, which is the big one, My Year of Rest and Relaxation, and so far I'm not loving it. I mean, I know that the point is that this character is incredibly privileged and obnoxious and like just virulently unlikable, but it is at the moment just feeling a bit vapid. Like, there's not much there so far. Anyway, I'm only about a third of the way through, and also I think I was expecting much more from the writing than I'm getting. Like, I don't think there's anything particularly notable about the writing. It just feels a bit boring to me so far. I'm listening to the audiobook. It's fine and I will finish it, but yeah, I'm not convinced yet about a Tessa Moshfegh, or at least about My Year of Rest and Relaxation. So I'm gonna get going, get on the train to London, take you with me of course, and I will take my books with me as well. There we go. Okay, I think I'm ready to go. I can't remember which books I've talked to you about, so I'm just going to talk to you about, so I'm just going to do my best and hopefully I won't have forgotten anything. So I've finished Bunny by Mona Awad, and it's been a few days now, and I thought this was not the best. I thought it was just okay. It's described as hilarious, hallucinogenic and freaky, and I don't think I really got that from it. I just got kind of chaotic, and whilst of course in a way that's intentional, I don't think that the writing really worked to set up the chaos. It felt a little too simplistic and it didn't give time for any tension to build. It was just sort of bam in your face for these things that were happening, and like I said, the first half was quite fairly predictable. I knew where things were going, and I kind of knew where things were going in the second half as well. I don't think anything ever really jumped out at me as being like really that shocking, or really that surprising. I think it was a fairly standard, predictable text, and I think that the characters were very underdeveloped for this sort of idea of dark female friendship. It felt quite surface level, and I don't think it really delved into any of the psyche of it. It was just, oh, these characters are bitchy, and that is the extent of their level. And there was a lot of like, they're like these weird bunnies pacts fall apart because of men, and it felt really like simplistic, and I didn't love the writing of it. So yeah, I had high hopes for this one to be like a really fun read, and overall I just found it a bit flat, and it didn't quite live up to the hype that I've been hearing about it. So it was all right, but nothing that special. I also finished My Year of Rest and Relaxation by Tessa Moshfegh, and I feel similarly about it in that it didn't live up to my expectations either, but I think I had very high expectations going into this because it's been so beloved, and when I first heard about it I didn't think it would be my thing because I thought it would be too like, people talk about the scotology of it, and I thought it would be a bit too dark and weird for my personal taste, but as I said at the beginning of this vlog, I've kind of been going in that direction with my reading, and what I actually found was this wasn't that weird and it wasn't that gross. Like, it was kind of, I feel like it's been overblown in terms of the hype around it. It was fairly straightforward. Like, I didn't, as I was saying when I'd read the first half, I didn't love it. The writing of it, I thought I expected a lot more from it, and I was finding it a bit performative, and I think that that was intentional, because there's a lot of talk about art in here, and like the vapidity of the art world, and money in relation to that, and so I think that that was kind of intentional. She is a very unlikable character, but not so much because of like grossness, I don't think, just because of her like intense privilege, and like how she's constantly talking about how beautiful she is and how much money she has and all this thing, and that's kind of what makes her unlikable. And again, I know that that was intentional, but I didn't find her compelling either. I found her kind of dull. Like, it reminded me most of like the central character from The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath. I felt like strong connections to that in here, and I didn't love that book either, so I guess that kind of narrator doesn't necessarily always work for me, and yeah, overall I just found it a bit repetitive, which I guess again is the point. It is meant to be like that, but I didn't enjoy it at the same time, and I found that the second half I got into more. I found that it found its stride when things started to go a bit more off the rails with this. I don't know if I've told you what it's about, but it's about a woman who's like using drugs to try and sleep through her life, and she's lost her parents and had some like shit she's gone through, but she's an immensely privileged woman, and she doesn't seem to realise that she's only possible. She talks a lot about like the philosophy of opting out of the world, but she's only able to because she has all this money. And yeah, she works in the art world, and it's a lot about performance and identity, and well, not identity, but it's about performance and the face that we show the world. But there was a part in here that kind of really annoyed me, and it's I don't want to spoil it for you because it's to do with the ending, but I knew that that ending was coming from so far early on in the book. Like, this is set in a specific time period and in a specific city. Well, this is set in New York in a specific time period, and I don't know why you would be constantly bringing up that time period if not the ending that happens in this was the ending. The point in it even more heavily foreshadows the ending, like in such an annoying, repetitive way that I'm like, for God's sake, why are you making this so damn obvious? Like, you could be a bit more subtle with it and make the ending actually land, but the ending doesn't land because you've known it's coming from like a third of the way into the book. So spoilers here, but when her best friend starts to work at the World Trade Center, they say Twin Towers, World Trade Center, the Towers about 8 times on one page, and it's like really trying to hammer home. And then it's constantly being like, it's 2001, Bill Clinton's the president, but not for much longer. Oh, 2001, how this year is going. And it's like, okay, why are you trying to make it so obvious? Like, it didn't build tension for me. I felt like it was just too much. I felt like it could have been drawn back, and the ending was just so predictable. And I actually thought at one point that ending that I predicted wasn't going to happen, and I was like, oh, this is so clever because she's made me think of this ending and then she's pulled the rug out from under me. But no, she didn't. It was the ending that I expected, and it wound me up. I've also finished Burnt Sugar by Avni Doshi, and I really liked this book. Again, I think that I am over expecting darkness from these books. I think that the way people pitch them as being super dark they're not as dark as I'm expecting. Now, this is about the relationship between a mother and daughter when that has been a strained relationship throughout their life, when the mother starts to get Alzheimer's, and how that affects their relationship. And it's also about motherhood and becoming a mother, and our main character's relationships in the past, her experience of art. Yeah, art seems to be a big theme actually of these books that I'm reading, and her relationship with her husband. And I really enjoyed this. I thought that the writing was so skillful. It was not overdone in any way, but it was really well written and really gripping and engaging. It's a short book, and I found it went really quickly. I think that the tension between the mother and daughter was done really well, because I think people talked about cruelty and the cruelty that people will enact on each other, and whilst at the end there is some of that, I didn't feel like it was as dark or as cruel as I was expecting from the way that people talked about this. I think there was a lot more heart and a lot more sort of ambiguity about how our main character feels, and her discomfort with her mother, and with her how that relates to herself. So yeah, I really thought this one was really well written, and I think it's my favourite that I've read so far, of the 4 that I've read so far. I think that this one is really the most powerful. I think that this was a really good, solid book, and I'm annoyed that I was put off it for so long by people saying how like horrible and abrasive it is, and maybe I just have a higher tolerance for that than other people, because none of these books seem to be going as dark as I thought they would. I am also halfway through Severance by Ling Ma, and again this is a book that is different than what I was expecting. So this is about there has been a plague, a kind of zombie-like plague, except that the people who get this Shen fever don't start attacking people, they just go about their daily lives repetitively until they die, because they are just doing the same motions over and over again. And we have 2 different timelines. We have kind of before that happens and afterwards, with our main character Candace. It's way more about her life in New York and her experience of being Chinese immigrant into America from her childhood, and her going back to China because she works in publishing of Bibles, and the religion is a big strong theme that comes through this book, even though our main character is not a believer herself. Really different than what I was expecting, because it's like 2 novels at the moment. It's like we have this sort of contemporary disenchanted New York lifestyle, again another girl who has money because her parents are dead, and living in New York, and the disenchantment and the lack of connection in these sexual relationships, and her apathy with work, and her apathy towards life in general, and her not sure about the art that she's creating. And then we have this other like really tense post-apocalypse narrative that is about this group travelling around America with this kind of, not, I wouldn't say charismatic leader, but a weird kind of culty leader situation going on. And I'm enjoying it. I think that it's really well written, but it's really not what I was expecting. And I'm excited to see where it goes. Again, not as dark or difficult to read as I thought it would be. Maybe I'm just like overhyping these books for myself, but I'm enjoying it so far. I've also begun Earthlings, and so far, not as weird as I thought it would be, but I think that this is one that's going to go weird, because from what I hear people say, it kind of goes off the rails towards the end, so I'm excited for that. I'm enjoying it though. This is told from the perspective of a young girl, and it's about her, her family are abusive to her immediate family, and at the beginning she travels to her grandparents' family for a festival. It's set in Japan, and she meets her cousin with whom she's in love, but she is 11 years old. Back to her life at her hometown, and she's going to school, and there's a teacher who is a creep as well. So we have a lot of different things being set up, and this girl believes that she has magic powers. She has a hedgehog stuffed toy that she thinks is an alien, and she also believes that her cousin is an alien. And so I think it's interesting that sort of these are kind of coping mechanisms for her like really terrible life. I would say that I think that the dialogue is a bit weird, but we are hearing from the perspective of a child, and I have enjoyed things from the perspective of a child in the past, but I don't know much about children and their development, but I feel like she's skewing really young. This 11-year-old, I don't think 11-year-olds would believe that they actually have magic powers, but it is a coping mechanism, so maybe that's where that comes from. So yeah, I think the writing is a little precious at the moment, but I think that that's going to be juxtaposed with how weird it gets later on. At least that's my feeling so far, but I've only just begun it. I'm only like a quarter of the way in. So that's a roundup of all of the books so far, and I will see you in a bit. So it is time to wrap up the vlog, but I finished reading these books 3 days ago, so we're going to see how well I can remember them. So I finished Severance by Ling Ma, and I enjoyed it. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought that it was the sort of convergence of the 2 storylines, as her life in New York and her feeling aimless and disconnected, and disassociated from the people around her, as that slowly turned into people getting this Shen fever and disappearing from the city, and that this sort of isolation feeling, and then that was kind of intercut with what happened after the Shen fever with these survivors and with this kind of controlling bloke, and there's a lot about like belief and religion in it, because our main character Candace works printing Bibles, and this guy who's in charge is very religious, and there's kind of this thing about like belief that pervades it. I thought that I didn't like the post-apocalyptic bit as much as I liked the pre-apocalyptic bit, and even the during apocalyptic bit, because it was so focused on one person and so like away from the world. It wasn't really much about like big action pieces. It was very slow and quiet. I like that more than the sort of more plotty part that happened after the apocalypse, and that kind of apocalyptic fiction's not my thing anyway. I don't really read this kind of sci-fi, so that sort of stuff didn't appeal to me as much. I enjoyed it, but I did enjoy it, and I thought that it was compellingly written, and I've read a lot about how it's like really mind-blowing and really interesting look at like modern capitalism and that sort of thing. I thought that was very lightly touched on. It wasn't as deeply explored as I thought it would be, and I felt it was not that like mind-blowing or anything. It felt kind of expected. I didn't see that much in the way of a critique beyond what... It didn't feel like a very deep critique of it. Some of it, yeah, but it didn't ever manage to go to the like eye-rolling extent that some things do by being too explicit either, which I have always complained about in books. It didn't do that. So yeah, overall I thought it was pretty successful, but not very memorable for me, I think. So it won't be one of my favourite books of all time or anything, but I definitely think it was worth a read, and I'm glad I did read it. And then I also finished Earthlings, and I feel very differently about this book. So it did definitely go off the rails. It definitely was the weirdest and darkest book that I read in this list. I've realised, thinking about it, that I didn't really end up picking the sad girl books. I ended up picking the weird dark books, which is not the same thing. I should have been reading On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous and other things like that, rather than these dark weird books. But I enjoyed the concept of the vlog anyway. But yeah, I didn't like Earthlings, but it went, yeah, very weird, very dark, did all sorts of weird shit going on. If you need trigger warnings, look them up, because there are a lot that you would need for this book. But the writing, which I said at the beginning was feeling a bit precious, it never really changed from this feeling of a child's perspective, even though it is actually intercut between a child's perspective and her as a grown adult. And I kind of can see where it's coming from, in that she is regressed because of the trauma, and she is like trapped in that time period, and she doesn't really progress as a person, and this like weird world. I don't really know how she pulled other people into this world. I feel like it didn't make any sense, and I feel like it was too... I want my dark weirdness to feel connected to the world in which it's written, rather than to feel like completely balls to the wall. I want like some like groundedness to it, even if it is getting weird and dark. And or I want it to, therefore, if it is going to be mad, then I want it to be magical realist, or like speculative in some way, like Build Your House Around My Body I loved, and that does go mad, but it is not supposed to be realistic. And I think overall, I think it is difficult when you're writing books from the perspective of children, like this one was. It can be grating, and I did find it grating in this one, and I didn't think that it worked particularly well. And yeah, it was very plotty. Lots happen in this book, and that's not really what I'm after. When in my weird books, I'm looking for just vibes. Pure vibes. That's all I want from a book, is vibes. And I didn't get vibes from Earthlings. I got weird, like, and then this happened, and then we did this very strange thing, and talked like children playing a make-believe game, but with darkness in it. I was going to say with cannibalism. It's not... It doesn't really work for me, and I find that it just didn't grip me. I wasn't interested. It was just kind of annoying in the style of the writing, I think, more than anything else, and I didn't feel like the weirdness was earned. It just felt like pulled out of a hat, and it didn't feel like it really was ingrained in the characters. The characters didn't feel very real at all. Everyone was just shouting all the time, and I didn't really get on with it. I read 6 books in this vlog, which is more than normal, but there were definitely lots that I had been intending to get to and I didn't get to. So maybe I will do a Weird Girl Autumn reading vlog at some point in the future. But yeah, let me know in the comments down below what you thought, and if you have any sad weird girl books that you would like to recommend to me, anything that does go dark and weird but not in an Earthlings kind of way, and I would appreciate some recommendations from you. I think I'm going to make a video about the ones that are currently on my radar, because I don't think I've read enough to do a recommendations video yet. So that will be coming out at some point in this future, so remember to subscribe to this channel if you would like to see it, and to like this video if you enjoyed it. I put out new videos twice a week, including these ones here, if you would like to go and check them out. And so I will see you again very soon. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.